Okay, guys. This is my first panel, so welcome to Lolita Tea Etiquette. I'm just going to go over the basics of the etiquette you would observe, because as you know, Lolita is becoming more of a from fashion to an actual culture that draws from old traditional ways of women. Of course, when you start planning a tea party, you have two types. You have a formal and informal. Formal is where you would use like save the dates. Does anyone know what save the dates are? Okay, there's anyone who doesn't know what save the dates are?
I don't know.
Save the dates are like wedding invitations. They're pre-ordered from a place. They have calligraphy. They're engraved and such yada fancy stuff like that. Those would be the ones that you would use for formal. Informal would be something like those little birthday cards or birthday invitations that you send out through the mail. Or you can just print it up on your computer and such and such. They're not really to be really fancy, they're just more plain. And sending the invitations and picking what kind of formal or informal invitation plans goes on your theme of your party. Whether it be extravagant, you'd go with formal, right? If you're going for more like a maybe tea party picnic in the park, would be more of a lesser formal one. And you just pick your invitations on that. You can go by theme, you can put your theme on it. You can do scrolls, you can do anything pretty much that you want to. Informal is not really limited to anything. Okay, attending the tea party. Of course, everyone knows, mind your manners, mind the dress codes. Most places will definitely tell you have a dress code. Please meet the standards, or else you will most likely be asked to leave. And also, for ladies, does anyone know the proper way to sit down? Would someone please demonstrate? Who think they know?
I can't do it because I got double loaded.
Okay, so how you sit, not correct you if you need.
I think you're supposed to sit kind of like this.
Back straight, move to the forward edge of the chair. Just cross. If you gotta cross your legs, don't cross them. Cross at the ankles, left over right.
It took me a minute to think there.
Yes. Remember to keep your back straight. It's the most important thing. That is the correct way. Do not cross your arms, keep them at your lap. If you gotta cross your feet or hands or whatever, always cross at your ankles. A lady does not cross at the knees unless you're a street walker. Trust me. If anyone's ever is anyone ever going to continue the class? You know they will say it.
Yeah, they'll say basically, lady reveals nothing.
Exactly. A lady keeps secrets. They tell you that. Keep your secrets. And as always, no cell phones at a party. It's out of respect of the host. So, of course, no socializing on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, unless they ask you to take pictures of the party or whatever. Do not be on your cell phone, do not be on a computer. But taking pictures, depending on the host or the hostess, is perfectly okay. If there is a guest of honor, they will normally be standing by the host or the hostess. When you arrive at the party, you would normally go and greet your host first, then they'll introduce you to the guest of honor, and you would greet them. Does anyone know how you greet?
You bow.
Yes, gentlemen, you would bow at the waist, put your hand like this. What about ladies? Anyone know how to do a proper curtsy?
Cross your ankles,
You have to put your left
bow
leg behind.
slightly.
Yeah.
It's pretty much you put one foot out, one foot back, and you bend at the knee. It's kind of really not the proper way, but it's what's acceptable nowadays. You can get away with it. It's kind of like the lazy version.
I wonder what the proper version looks like.
your legs like kind of way back there to the side, and you got the balance. So unless you have good balance, I would not suggest try it really, especially if you're in heels.
Okay.
That could be an accident waiting to happen. I know, because I've never taken cotillion, but I did have to pretty much do this every day pretty much for 14 years. I had to learn how to do it. I had a very old-fashioned grandmother. When you are a guest and you're ready to leave, first thing you must do is find your host. Thank them for a wonderful time. So you can give them compliments at any time, but it's mostly like, go up to so-and-so and say, well, Rebecca, thank you for the party. We really enjoyed ourselves, and we hope to God you throw another one. Well, not hope to God, but most of my friends are used to the way I speak, but yes, you can say, I hope to attend the next one, and yada, yada, yada. Also, if there's a guest of honor, also do address an sentiment to the guest of honor the same way you extend to your host. Now, most tea parties, it is confusing because some places have it all in one room, some have it in 2 rooms, and depending on the space that you're working with. If you normally have if big enough space would have 2 rooms, you would have the socializing and the dancing and whatever you want in the other room, and the other room would be reserved for the tea parties. That's normally a standard practice to have the 2 rooms. So that way you would come in the main room, greet, socialize, then someone will announce the tea is ready, and you would all proceed calmly into the next room. Sometimes they will have assigned seating. Sometimes most places won't. It's not really a standard practice. Most people just let them sit wherever they want, unless they direct otherwise. If you're planning to throw your own party and you don't know how to set your table, first thing you must know, tablecloth is a must at any tea party. The cloths kind of vary from different aspects of your party. Mostly they will be white, but on holiday events you can choose a different color base for the holiday. They can be of lace, they can be of satin, but I really wouldn't go with the satin. I really wouldn't. That's just a little too much, but also your best bet is to go with a white linen. It's easy to just throw a little bit of bleach on it and throw it in the washing machine after you're done. Because trust me, it will make a mess. There are normally 2 trays per table. One pertains to your tea, and the other one pertains to your coffee, for all your coffee drinkers. Now, some may actually just have it at the one table, like at the head table, which will be divided into 2 sections, one for the coffee, and then once again for your tea. Just go in whichever line and get your tea or your coffee. But they're also, if they have a table on the side, which normally they should, it'll also hold all your coffee cups, your saucers, and your spoons and such, so that way after you go get your cup, you stay in line, then you go move to your silverware. As if they do the practice right, but some nowadays just really don't do that. They will just hand you all of your stuff at your table and you do it that way. That is still acceptable in society of the modern age, but if you are considering a formal kind of way back in the tradition, you would have your cup of coffee or your tea, come up, get it, and then move on this way to your silverware, which will also be located next to the food table in most cases. Now, the whole different thing about tea parties today is the serving etiquette of actually pouring the tea. To set up for your tea tables, you will have 1 pot of boiling water, and then, of course, nowadays, everyone still uses coffee makers, even for traditional parties. So if they do have a coffee maker, you can get away with it. Just go ahead and use it. They don't have to know if they don't want to. Or you could use an electric heating pad, which I do not recommend because that will take forever to boil in your water for your tea. Unless you got like a really souped up new charged one. But okay, then just don't nuke the place if you try it. Now the tricky part when making the tea, does anyone know what types of tea you should have at different levels of what? You can have chamomile, but
Earl Grey?
you can have any kind of tea you want. It's just
Yeah.
It's water temperature, right?
yeah, it has to be
Water temperature and sleeping time.
yeah. But pretty much, if you want to do tea, you should have a strong and a weak, just like with your coffee, a strong and a weak. Not everybody will like strong. Not everybody will like weak. So it must have a balance out and be prepared for anyone who may need something else. Goes the same with all the condiments that go into it, like your milk, your cream, your sugar. Always have stuff for lactose intolerant, substitute sugars for the diabetics. You know, just take everything into account. You're here to please your guests. So make sure anything they need is available that will be there. Also, normally, your cream and stuff and all that will be at the tables. All the personal tables that they will have. Sorry, this thing is really, really hot. Doesn't help I'm wearing 3 shirts under here anyway.
Okay.
I'll try. I'm already just to take it off, so I'm sorry.
Do it seductively.
That's what the people want. Just saying.
Stuff is already hard to get out of.
I wish we had some sexy music. Bow, chicka, bow, bow.
Okay, do you want to lock you up with the other one upstairs?
Woo! Yeah!
Oh, it like feels so much better.
Woo!
Pretty much the most common question is what type of food you would serve at a party. Of course, the edible kind.
Sandwiches.
Yes.
Desserts.
foods.
Yes, desserts, yes. Desserts are must.
No greasy.
Yeah, no fried chicken. No big ass steak. No chicken strips.
Lots of high tea. High tea, you can get away with steak.
Yeah, you can.
Don't they generally have mini tarts and quiches? or
Yes, they
something like
do.
that?
Pretty much anything of the mini variety in desserts are always a really crowd pleaser for them.
Pie.
Yes, you can have crumpets. You can have scones. You can have basically anything except, you know, like a big meal. Unless maybe that's what you're going for is a big food thing, then why not have a potluck tea party? Nothing is pretty much out of reach for anything that you want to do at a tea party. If it's a thing, at least. But yes, appetizers and cocktails are normally served at the party most of the time, followed by sandwiches, of course, and then your desserts are always going to be there. Those are your number one fail-safes, and that's what people stay at. But if you feel of interest, go ahead. Try something new. When it comes to the buffet table, it is self-serve. But as ladies and gentlemen, you would always take a little bit and go back to your seat. You don't have to take a lot at one time. You can always go back as many times as you want. It is open and free to everybody. Just take a little bit, go back. Just in words, don't look like a pig. Don't come there with a stack of cookies this high, because I know some of my friends actually will try it because they take it as a personal challenge to eat it.
Just have them, I'm just saying, just have it all at my table. That'd be great.
Like I said, she
Don't have
takes
to
it
get
as
up
a
and down
personal
for
challenge.
it.
I know between you and Brock, I know who could eat more.
We can definitely try that out. Just saying. Think I
Yes.
will.
Don't they on occasion have little trays that'll be like multi-layer for an individual tables to have your own individual treats on each table?
For smaller parties, really. Like if you're having maybe 10 or 15 people at your party. But anything from more than 15, they normally just have a little buffet line. Because that'd be too much crowding on this table. And with all your condiments and stuff you're going to have, plus your teacups and all that, it's going to be a little crowded. But yes, if you're doing a small tea party with a big enough table, go ahead and do that. That is easiest instead of having a big long table with only a few things on it. tea making itself.
Don't burn
That, exactly, number one is definitely safety, do not burn yourself.
It's not fun.
Once.
Yes, I know. Trust me, I got scars from doing it before.
Oh dear.
Yes,
Some
boiling
shivers.
water.
One scoop for each
Burns are not
person
fun.
and one for the pot. As they say in Black Butler.
Yeah, that's pretty much the saying how it goes, but there's a different way to do it. Put as much, normally like 3 or 4 on your first one for a strong batch and just leave it in there with the water soaking. Then put a strainer on a cup and drain your water from your tea leaves. If you leave it for about 4 minutes, that should make a weak pot, depending on what type of tea you use and how much of it you put into the teapot itself once it's boiling. If you made it too strong, if you made like 2 strong pots, go ahead and redo it again. Just put it back in the teapot, add some more water, let it boil down, and it should make a weak enough tea for everybody. Same goes for coffee if you're making coffee the old-fashioned way.
And if you want to save on the amount of tea bags you use, you can take, if you accidentally make too strong teas, you can just add a little more water to one of them to weaken it.
Exactly. But most tea bags aren't really used at parties. Most of them just use the actual tea leaves, which if you do use the tea leaves, please do strain them. No one really wants to drink a tea leaf. It doesn't really taste very good. Yes, you?
So you can use the same tea leaves over and over again, just putting more water in it? Wouldn't that dilute the flavor of it? Or no?
You don't put the tea leaves back in if you're making a weaker cup.
Yeah.
You just go ahead and put the water back in, and just add more water to. It will still mix, but it will weaken the taste. Bless you. It will just weaken the taste, so that way it isn't as strong. So that way you have some weak tea for people who want a weak tea, who really don't really like tea. Those are the people who normally generally go for the weak tea. It's pretty much just adding like a pasta sauce. If you have a pasta sauce that's thick, keep adding water until it thins it out. It's basically the same principle. And the hardest part is the etiquette for those who pour. Of course, you want to pour carefully. You don't want to burn anybody. But by the time it's ready to serve, it should be at least room temperature or just a little bit above, so it's not scalding. If you're sitting at a table, like if a 2-person table or a small table with your own personal teapot, someone can actually do the honors and say, "May I do the honors?" And then you allow them to pour. But if they've been pouring for a while, like maybe 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes, someone else may be able to say, "May I have the honor now?" And you would just go in like that. But please do take turns when you're at a party like that to make sure everybody does not stay pouring the whole entire thing, because it does get tiring after a while. But if you do have a table, just like I said, come up, get your tea. The host or the hostess will ask you what you want, like tea or coffee. If it's all at one table, they'll say tea or coffee. If not, they'll have a line for tea and a line for coffee. When you get there, you'll say weak with, if they have the condiments, you'll say like weak with 2 sugars and cream. And while she or he is making the tea for you, may use light conversation. Don't sit there and hold a big conversation. Just compliment them on the party or their outfit or whatever. Make light conversation. Then they'll hand you your tea and smile at you and say thank you. And then you would quickly exit, but be careful with your tea. Same with the coffee. Go there and say strong or weak. If they have the cream and stuff, tell them what else you would like in it. Like conversation, move along. Especially if the tea line is really long, which normally they kind of are. Keep it, like I said, small conversation. I know this is a dumb question, but I know some people have actually asked me this. How do you ask for another cup of tea? You just go by the same thing. May I please have another cup? Or may I have some more,
Please, sir, may I have some more?
Okay, we're not turning into
No, it filled up 20
You
minutes.
know me a new
Let's-
filming camera.
Yeah.
I know, was I was the wrong person. Now this last part is an option. It is mostly practiced when giving, like if they're having a birthday tea party and you give gifts. Is it thank you notes? Does anyone know what a thank you note is?
It is a letter in which you do not kill someone.
You would love to kill your guests, but if that's how you want to go for it, why not? Anyone else know what it is?
Like, it's the one that the people who received the gift was giving like a thank you note. Usually personalized, like, thank you for your gift, I enjoyed it so much, blah, 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 thank you for coming, etc.
She's right on.
They give you puppies.
Yeah, they give you puppies.
In thank you gifts, do you have to detail, like, list what everything they gave you if they gave you multiple items, like thank you for the such and such and the such and such and the such and such?
Yes.
That's
They are very
pain.
thank you notes, if you buy them. Like if you go to Barnes & Noble, I don't know anywhere else, but I know Barnes & Noble has them. And they normally have a sample. If you go and look at it, it is a little folded card, but it's blank on the inside. Thank you notes must be handwritten and personalized.
When do you give a thank you note? If you, I know you generally give them to the end, but do you give them as the person is heading out, or do you like a week later send it to them in the mail?
The standard practice is to wait after the party, especially if they give you a gift, because normally if they give you a gift, you would have a piece of paper on the side of you or someone writing it. We would write their name and what they gave you. So later you can say, Mary, thank you for coming to my party. Thank you for the crystal vase. I have it in the living room area next to the window. You would normally detail what they gave you and where, if it's a home decoration, you normally say where it's placed. Yes.
I've been to functions where like they don't necessarily have the book, but they have like the book. They have like a little opening, kind of like a book itself that says, "Thank you for coming. Thank you for your gifts and everything," and like that. Could that replace the thank you notes, or would the thank you notes be better?
Thank you notes would be better because it's handwritten. It's from you. You personalize it, so they would feel it's much better received that way. Yeah.
So in a hypothetical scenario in which you do not have any survivors from your people,
Then you would have to send anybody a thank you
how long
note.
is too long to wait to expect a thank you note?
I think it's safe to say you probably would not be hearing anything from them. So you don't really have to send them anything.
Yeah.
You may want to send their families a condolence card though.
Like a head?
But yeah, after the tea party, if no one's a survivor, then yeah.
A
send
piece
the
of body
condolence
of
letters
the
to
person
families.
that died. Oh, God.
Just don't put your return address because they might come after you.
And they're too bloody.
But yes, generally thank you notes are done like a week or two after and placed in the